Good morning. My name is Ulyana. Let me introduce a part on the topic bird life in the Pasvik River Valley. Today, we will talk about different groups of birds in the Pasvik River Valley. We're talking about birds of the Pasvik River, birds of swamps, and forest birds. The map shows our region. As you may know, the Pasvik River is the border between Russia and Norway, but its source, Lake Inari, is located in Finland. In the photos, you can see the Pasvik River Valley. Forest, swamps, lakes, and rivers are the main bird habitats in the Pasvik River Valley. There are 239 bird species in the Pasvik River Valley. 115 of them are aquatic and semi-aquatic birds, and there are 33 rare species. Rivers, lakes, and swamps are home to aquatic and semi-aquatic bird species. Let's talk about aquatic birds. They are water-living species. They can float on water surface. Water is their habitat, feeding and breeding ground. They don't include species hunting in water, for example, osprey. Osprey can float, it just dives for fish in water. Aquatic birds include galliforms order, pelicanforms order, and answerforms order, like different ducks and geese. Characteristics of aquatic birds. Thick plumage necessary for heat preservation. The interdigital webs are very important for birds as they help birds accelerate quickly before taking off. This gives them the ability to quickly escape from predators. And the uropagel glands form a special substance that birds apply to their feeders. This prevents the plumage from getting wet. Aquatic birds can be piscivore. Example, loons, mergansers, cormorants, they only eat fish. And herbivore, like swans, geese, some ducks, this species prefers plants. The diet of some ducks consists of invertebrates. So talking about some aquatic birds, life of this species depends on water more or less. They live in wet places by the side of lakes and rivers in the wetlands. Semi-aquatic birds include gruiform order and haladriforms order. Semi-aquatic birds choose parts of the year different in structure. Among them, there are species preferring coastline with rocky bottom, for example, common ringer plover. Other species like swamplands with thatch grass, like this golden plover. Parts of the river with muddy bottom are occupied by roofs. Cranes prefer large swamps near coastline, and common goose can be found in any part of Pasvik River on swamps and lakes. In contrast of aquatic birds, semi-aquatic birds don't have uropagel glands, but they have elongated limbs with long thin claws and long neck. It gives them opportunity to walk in thick grass in shallow water, opportunity to get from swamps in upper soil layer without too much getting wet. Gulls are very similar in characteristics to aquatic. Thick plumage, interdigital webs, and uropagel gland. But the life of these birds doesn't depend on water so much. They can also live in cities. A very wide food spectrum is given by various adaptations. Cranes in general have plant-based diet, roots, sprouts, herbs and shrubs, seeds and berries, and occasionally catch animals, invertebrates, amphibians, lizards. Sandpipers prefer invertebrates, terns and gulls, fish. Some species from Pasvik order can be classified as a semi-aquatic bird. Reed bunting live on the swampy sides of the river with shrubbery. White wagtail like uneven sandbanks. St. Martin builds nests in sandy cliffs on the sides of rivers. White-throated dipper deserves special mention. This is the only species from Pasvik order that can dive. It lives in parts of river with fast currents. It feeds on insect larvae that it collects at the bottom of the river. The dispersal of different aquatic and semi-aquatic bird species is not even on Pasvik River. On the maps, you can see some species dispersal in different seasons. Green stands for spring, yellow for summer, and red for autumn. Size of the cycle shows number of species in specific part. Here you can see the most widespread aquatic bird. Black-throated loon is dispersed evenly on the river in every season, not creating a large aggregation. Common goldeneye is dispersed evenly on the river in spring and summer, but in autumn it forms large groups. The same goes for red-breasted merganser. Semi-aquatic birds can be seen on Pasvik River mostly in spring and summer. However, they don't usually create large aggregation. For example, mostly on every coastline kilometer during spring and summer, you can find one couple of common sandpiper and a common green shank. Common gulls, in contrast to other species, form small groups. Another group of species can be found only in specific parts of the river. For example, among aquatic birds, common pintail prefers lakes and miyavi. There you can also find common shoveler, but red-throated loon in different seasons can be seen in different parts of Pasvik River. You can trace seasonal patterns in semi-aquatic bird dispersion. For example, spotted redshank can be seen in central part of Pasvik River in spring, and little gull inhabits more often central and northern parts of the river in summer. Anyone can watch birds in their natural habitat. Here you can see a smew male. This small, beautiful merganser is a symbol of Pasvik zapovednik. Some species have males and females of very different appearance. In the upper picture, you can see a male and female of tufted duck. In the picture below, there is a goldeneye. You can see that males are brighter and more attractive. Here you can see goldeneye's hatchlings. They don't look like their parents at all. A very interesting peculiarity of goldeneyes and smews is that they nest in tree hollows. Common sandpiper's hatchlings don't look like their parents too. They have very light downy plumage. Only 3 weeks after hatching, their plumage will become like that of adult birds. Young gulls are already size of an adult, but have a completely different color. So it's time to talk about birds of swamps. In the swamps, you can also find species from Pasvik order. For example, yellow wagtail in the picture and meadow pipit. Some whales hunt in swamps, like this short-eared whale on the picture. And of the other predators, common kestrel and row-legged hawk live here. The forests of the Pasvik River Valley are marked by a great diversity of bird species. These are not only species from Pasvik order, but also woodpeckers, owls, grouse family, some of predatory species. On the screen, you can see common species of the Pasvik River Valley from Pasvik order. In the birch forest, you will meet willow warbler. In the pine forest, brambling. Common redpoll, Siberian, and gray titmices live in any type of forest. Of the woodpecker in the Pasvik River Valley, you can find black woodpecker in old forest, great spotted woodpecker in pine forest, and three-toed woodpecker prefers burnout forest. One of the largest owls in the Pasvik River Valley is great gray owl. It chooses old pine forest for breeding. It don't build nest itself, but occupies the nest of other birds, for example, hawks. It hunts rodents. Western capercaillie, black grouse, willow, ptarmigan, and hazel grouse belong to the grouse family species. The black grouse hides in dense young forest, unlike the capercaillie, which prefers old pine forest. Species such as pillow ptarmigan and black grouse stay closer to swamps, places of cut-down forest, and old forest roads. And last, many of the species are hunted by northern horsehawk, Eurasian sparrowhawk, marlin, and even white-tailed eagle. A special predator that builds its nest in the forest is the osprey. It hunts on the river and lakes because he prefers to eat exclusively fish. So that's all I have to say. I hope this information was interesting and will be useful for you. Thank you for your attention.